This is my digital citizen presentation for EDU 585, Project 1, Part 2. I opted to do a screencast as part of my audio recording so that we can go through the presentation and you can hear what I have to say as I go through it. So what is digital citizenship? According to Bearden, digital citizenship can be defined as the norms of appropriate, responsible behavior with regard to technology use. So this is important for educators, especially if you're an online teacher leader. I currently work for Maine Virtual Academy. We are completely online, and I need to understand what digital citizenship is and to be able to have a complete understanding so I can be a good example so that I can teach my students as they're going through their course. We'll get into it a little bit later about such topics that come up with digital citizenship, such as plagiarism, illegal downloading, those type of things, as well as just what you should or should not be sharing online. Why is digital citizenship important for parents or the community at large? It's so that they can be able to be knowledgeable and to reflect that digital citizenship in their homes. So parents need to be aware of not only just the positive aspects, but the negative aspects as well. And oftentimes parents only focus on that negative. I think right now with the pandemic and the virus, we are seeing a lot of what I like to coin the term of Facebook scientists. They know everything about the virus because they can find information anywhere on the internet. And we just need to be able to share with our parents and our community at large how the internet works, how the websites that they're visiting help drive the search results that they have in Google. This is an important part of that digital citizenship. Why is it important for our students to know digital citizenship? It's to keep them safe and so that they can learn what they should or should not share online, as well as to really teach them that you can find any information online to back up any thought or idea that you have, whether it's true or not. There's such things as confirmation bias. There are, you can find any information on the internet to back up and support any position that you may have on any thing out there. And it's really important for students to understand how to do that. It's important for them to know what they should be sharing online. It's important for them to know that colleges, future employers are going to be looking at their online presence and making a determination about whether they want them at their college or in their place of employment based on what they're finding as their digital footprint. In my classroom, we come up with classroom expectations every semester. We do this as a group. The students and myself, we take that very first class, the beginning of the semester, and we come up with some ideas of how we want to conduct ourselves in our online environment. These are the expectations that we came up with for this semester. We want to have fun. Science is a very cool subject. This one was specifically for my chemistry class. They want to learn. There's so much to learn. Interact with your peers and with your teacher. I try to make the class in our live connect sessions very interactive. I don't want to just keep talking. I want to know what they have to share. I want them to be able to show that knowledge and to master those skills in chemistry. And like I said, I do this by collaborating with them. I have them put all kinds of ideas up on the whiteboard. We use Blackboard Collaborate at Maine Virtual Academy, so they can write on the board. They put them in chat, and then we vote on them. as a community, as a class, these are our classroom expectations that people have put up. They'll put up expectations for me as a teacher because I would like to know what they're expecting from me, and then they'll put up expectations from each other, like what they're expecting from each other. And the best part about working together collaboratively like this is that the students will help to self-regulate these behaviors. So they will be like, guess what? You're not quite following that. You're getting a little off track in our chat. Let's bring it on back to the science. They're really good because we've built this community that we're all collaborating together. So they'll bring each other back to the topic, and it's a really great way of getting them to start to self-regulate their own behavior and the behavior of others. So here's my plan to promote digital citizenship. There's some considerations that we need to take into account, such as what software should our students have access to, or do they have access to? At Maine Virtual Academy, some students will have a computer that they get through K-12, or some may be using their own personal computer. Based on which one they're using, they may have different software on that computer, and that can affect the programs and the apps that they have access to. The other thing that we really run into a lot is what restrictions do the parents or the families put on students. Some of our families do not want their students' name or anything where the students have to log in out there. They don't want them on social media. They don't want them on YouTube. So you have to take that into consideration as well. What about the technical abilities of your students? Although we're an online school, we have several students who struggle with technology. So those are some things that you need to take into account as you start this process. You need to start slow and build up your digital citizenship program. There's some ethical considerations, especially as you're teaching students. They're minors. Any of the programs or the apps that you may be using, you need to make sure that you're getting parental consent. Some parents, like I mentioned, especially with the social media, they can be very, they may not like you to use those. They want something that's really contained within the school. Minors are also, they can be involved in risky behaviors online that you may start talking about as you get through digital citizenship, your program, such as cyberbullying or self-harm, underage sexual activity, or they may even be talking about suicide. These are things that you are going to have to report as a mandated reporter. And that can get into a very sticky ethical situation. You're going to want to be upfront with your students. You want them to be honest and open. You want to have these discussions with them, but they also need to know that you are going to need to take it to the next step because you need to make sure that they're safe. What are some of the legal considerations? Some of the things that we need to make sure that our students are aware of and that they're not doing is illegal downloads. I remember growing up as a 90s child, I'm telling my age a little bit, we would do LimeWire, illegally downloading all kinds of music. I know I'm telling on myself, but that is something that we need to really be telling our students about. There's the copyright infringement, fair use. What are those images that we can use? Plagiarism. This is a big one. I had a student last semester whose complete lab report was plagiarized. And you have to go through that process. Digital citizenship is also teaching them just because it's online and it's easy to copy and paste, it doesn't give you permission to use another person's work. You shouldn't be hacking. Some of these students, it's amazing the abilities that they have with the computer, but it doesn't mean that you should be using those abilities. You also have cyberbullying. not only being the recipient of cyberbullying, but being the cyberbully. In the digital citizenship program, there's a really great video that's called Cyberbully. As we implement this program into our school, hopefully in the fall, we will be showing clips of that video to try to give the students that understanding that you may send just one inappropriate picture to one person, but that inappropriate picture then gets forwarded to the whole school, and the effect that that can have on that person. It's a very real thing, and I would be surprised if not every single one of our students has experienced cyberbullying in one shape or form. There's also the social emotional considerations. So students need to be able to practice their skills of digital citizenship. I know that a lot of the brick and mortar schools, at least in Maine, like to block off access to certain websites such as YouTube, Facebook, all of these websites so that students do not have access to them. That is one way of doing it. The way I would like to propose that we do our digital citizenship is that we allow students to have a chance to use these so that they can practice, so that we can use those mistakes that they may make. Let's say that they say something inappropriate or they post something that could have a harmful impact, and make it a teachable moment. That's what school is about. It's about teaching them what they should or should not be doing. And that leads me into infractions. So what would we do if a student does not follow a good digital citizenship? As our job as teachers, it's to model that good behavior for students. If we're not being a good digital citizenship, if our online presence is kind of negative, we know our students are Googling us. It's not going to be a very good example. If your school has a data policy, definitely need to follow that. Maybe you need to report it to the principal first. But we need to build that culture of trust and transparency with our students, and then we will be able to handle those infractions by using them as teachable moments. And if it's a cyberbully situation, definitely that gets escalated to the principal and then to the head of school. But it's definitely trying to take a step back, be like, where's this coming from? What was the intent? How can we improve this in the future? So that is my presentation for a digital citizenship program at Maine Virtual Academy. This is actually something that I will be working on writing curriculum for this summer. So this was a lot of fun to look at and try to put together.